A legal solution to remove a prime minister is not a real solution. I mean, if he commits a horrific crime, yes. We live in a liberal democracy, constitutional monarchy, checks and balances. We do not live in a society where you remove prime ministers in handcuffs because they're politically odious. You vote them out. You challenge their laws in court and have them declared unconstitutional. You use the Senate to slow things down. Well, he controls the Senate. You campaign. You engage in public discourse. So the idea that it is a solution to have a homemade legal approach that you think you're going to take the prime minister out, you don't think the Liberals would have done that to Stephen Harper if that was a real thing? If it's a real thing just to file some homemade legal action on your own without a lawyer, if that was a real thing, you don't think that would have been done by the other side to Harper? You really think you're going to take Justin Trudeau out? And then what? You think Andrew Scheer's going to be the prime minister? It'll be Chrystia Freeland, even if that fantasy came true, which it won't. So then you've got Chrystia Freeland as the prime minister. You happier now? So it's not a solution. It's a self-deception, but more than that, it's a license for you to avoid doing the real work of getting rid of Trudeau. For years, I've railed against political violence. Violence, or the threat of violence for a political goal, we have a name for that. Terrorism. I think there's a spectrum of misconduct. I think some of them would rightfully be called rioters. I find the whole thing very disconcerting. There was violence in Trump's name. I didn't like it. We have to rule out violence. That's one of the differences between being a supporter of the Republicans or a supporter of the Democrats. Like I say, you can have hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters, but the day will be colored by that handful of violent terrorists, I'll use the word. Donald Trump is a fighter at his core, and I think he kept fighting probably too long. But let's put aside Donald Trump because he's done. Some would say that comparing Trudeau to Hitler diminishes what Hitler did. It trivializes Hitler's crimes. Trudeau is an idiot and a corrupt Librano and a grifter and a socialist, but he's not a murderer. He hasn't set up death camps, so comparing Trudeau to a Nazi is offensive. It trivialized the Holocaust. I would take that point of view. The sign depicted Trudeau performing a Nazi salute alongside the message, Trudeau for treason. Now, I don't like that kind of language because it criminalizes political differences of opinion. I don't think Trudeau has committed treason. Treason is a real thing. I think Omar Khadr has committed treason by taking up arms against our soldiers or our allies in a war, by killing one of them, Sergeant Christopher Spear. That's pretty much on the nose treason, even though he hasn't been charged with it for some reason. I guess it's like the word fraud. It actually has a sharp meaning, bank fraud, insurance fraud. But you want to be careful that you don't use it in the sharpest meaning lightly. It goes all the more so for treason. I don't think Trudeau is a treasonous traitor. And I warn anyone who uses that language, I say, be careful what you wish for, because if a difference of opinion can be considered a crime or treason, who do you think is going to be the first to be arrested, the first up against the wall? Conservatives, of course. You won't be arresting Trudeau for treason. He'll be arresting you for treason if treason is stretched beyond its proper meaning to include mere political disagreements. Trudeau is many terrible things, but he's not a Nazi and he has not committed treason, and he will not be arrested for those things. But the Nazi attack is not wise. So there I am defending Trudeau against being called a Nazi. So fight back, preserve your freedoms, but fight peacefully. Don't be the caricature the left says you are. Don't be violent. You'll always lose. You'll certainly lose support.
And do your research. Don't give.
I'm scared because America doesn't just protect itself. Its role model, it's what it does casts a shadow for good or for ill around the world. Well, don't be demoralized. Where there's life, there's hope. And if things were really as bad as the other guys said, they wouldn't be trying to censor you so hard. So it is tough times, perhaps the toughest since our grandparents fought in World War II. But if they could get through those dark hours, surely we can get through this.